Okay, well, welcome you guys. My name's Amy Glenn, and I'm filling in for Kylene Lessig tonight, and I'm excited to share with you this topic of ancient oils for modern times. This is a class that is one of my favorites, actually. I haven't taught it in a few years, so it's really fun to revisit the topic, and it's the perfect time of year to do it. So we're just going to go ahead and dive in. What you see pictured here is the ancient oils collection. And I just wanted to just really quickly clarify that unfortunately it's not available. It's something that dōTERRA had available in 2020 in the US and then just last year in Canada from the Canadian warehouse. But we're going to talk about them anyway, because some of these oils are available year round. And dōTERRA does revisit and relaunch, some of our favorites for our favorite limited time oils. So, so this is the fun little wooden box that it came in. And oh shoot, I missed. I just realized I didn't put all of the stuff in here that I wanted to. Whatever. Anyway, this collection, it has frankincense and myrrh and Cysts and Hyssop and Galbanum, but it also has common myrtle. So that's what I forgot to include in there, but that's okay. So tonight what we're going to cover is we're going to talk just very, very briefly about the history of essential oils, just kind of touch on a few things that I think are relevant there. We're going to touch on essential oils in the Bible because it definitely ties in for this topic. We're gonna touch on each of these oils that are in the ancient oils collection that you see here. And then I just handpicked a few other oils that are referenced in scripture, but I just want to let you know that there are way more oils than just these. These are just some of the standouts. Cinnamon, cedarwood, cassia, sandalwood, cypress, and spikenard. And then at the very end, I just have a few of my favorite references that I want to share. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive in. Let's do it. Okay, hold on. If my slides will go. Okay, so here's just a little screenshot. Again, this is like brief history of essential oils. There's so much more than what is on this that's pictured here. Essential oils have been around for a very, very long time. And the first, I think, reference of essential oils was actually 4500 BCE. So this timeline doesn't include everything, obviously. That was in ancient Egypt. Then, of course, Mesopotamia, 3500 BC is what we see right here. And this is important because it was the first known distillation device that was found in what's now known as modern Iraq. So that's really interesting. We also know that essential oils have been used in China, and the furthest date back of evidence of that is 3000 BC. And that's when there was a book that was published with over 300 different botanical uses of essential oils, which is really cool. In ancient Egypt, of course, it was way earlier than this, but this is just one reference. So Queen Hatshepsut. I visited her tomb when I was in Egypt. She sent an expedition to the land of Punt, and her army brings back a grove of myrrh trees, which is really interesting. We know that that essential oils were used in the Dark Ages, used to help combat disease. We know that the German immigrants brought them to the US and part of their tradition. They were used in both World War I and World War II on the battlefields. We have records of that. And of course, in the 80s, it started to become really popular. And I, if I could just redo this whole timeline here, I think one of the most important dates would be 2008, because that is the year that dōTERRA was born. And they've been around for 14 years now. And we know that it's just awesome to be able to have the best essential oils available. All right, so that's just a brief history. This is a not so great picture of me, but I shared it anyway. I got to go to Egypt to visit my, I got to go to Israel and Egypt to visit my brother, who's an archaeologist. And this is actually at the Museum of Cairo. And these vials that you see here were from King Tutankhamun's tomb. They were recovered in 1922. They actually recovered 50 alabaster jars that were designed to hold 350 liters of oils. I'm sure you're familiar with tomb raiders and know a little bit about that anyway. Unfortunately, most of the oils were stolen. And what is interesting about that is that a lot of the grave robbers actually left gold, but preferred to steal the oils. That's how valuable they were over the centuries. So I thought that was really interesting. Another thing that I thought was interesting is that the essential oils were still intact. The ones that weren't stolen were still efficacious. They were still good. So that's one of the things that we teach about. If you haven't been to an intro class, I would encourage you to do that. But that's one of the things that we teach about in an intro to oils class. We talk about how essential oils outlast us. They don't really expire, except the citrus oils that need to be they have a higher turnover of 15 years. But essential oils definitely outlast us. Civilizations, they outlast civilizations. So I think that's really interesting. Let's see what else. Egyptian temples were dedicated to the production and blending of essential oils. There were also recipes recorded on a lot of the temple walls and the walls of some of the tombs at the Great Pyramids. And I got to see some of that too. And they were in the form of hieroglyphics, of course. An example of this, I thought this was really interesting. There's actually a ritual and hieroglyphs that shows a really great, it's called the cleansing of flesh and blood of evil deities, but it's an emotional clearing basically, that I thought was really, really cool. And it's a 3-day cleansing with essential oils. So our first medicine we know is plant medicine. Historically, we have this, we have evidence of this with many different civilizations. But now we're just going to kind of turn to scripture and the Bible for just a second. There are over 600 references to 33 different essential oils in the Bible, which I think is really fascinating. They're referenced in 36 of the 39 books of the Old Testament and 10 of the 27 books in the New Testament. Essential oils were created by God and work perfectly with our bodies, and God created plants to assist in our healing, in the healing of our mind, body, and soul. This is a scripture from the Old Testament, Ezekiel 47:12. Fruit trees of all kinds will grow on both banks of the river. Their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruit fail. Every month they will bear fruit, because the water from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will serve for food, and their leaves for healing. So this right here is just showing evidence that of distillation, basically. So leaves for healing, where we use those to distill the leaves for our essential oil, and that's referring to petitgrain. All right, so there are a lot of references in the scriptures, and I'm not going to go like make it, a huge scripture thing, but I just wanted to point out a few because I think this is interesting for everyone. If you have a Judeo-Christian background, or if you just are interested in from the historical standpoint, I think it's really, really cool to check this out. So I'm not going to quote all of them, but you can just kind of see this in Genesis 37:23-28. I'm just going to skip to the very end here. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. So this, in context, this is Joseph. Remember the Joseph in the coat of many colors, and his brother sold him into slavery, and he ended up saving his people. But anyway, it's interesting how in the scriptures, it specifically talks about myrrh, balm, spices. So we're talking about essential oils here. And this is also referring to essential oils here in Isaiah chapter 61, the oil of joy instead of mourning. So lots of really cool references. Here are some more. There's anointing oil. And this actually breaks it down to what the cost is to buy these for worship, to make your sacred anointing oil. So they've got myrrh, they have cinnamon, they have cassia, and it's a really cool record of that. There's also there's the famous scripture with Mary, who used her spikenard, which was really expensive. It was really costly, and she used it to pour on Jesus's feet. So that's a really cool reference. And then, of course, one of the most famous, probably the most famous, let's just say it, is the birth of the Christ child. So, and this is just the St. Matthew version. And right here, and then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh that we're all really familiar with, right? So that brings us to the Nativity. It's just such a great time of year to reflect on all of this. So we're going to just skip right ahead to frankincense. If you've never seen frankincense, this is what the resin looks like, super, super close up. It's kind of sticky, but this is kind of dried out. But anyway, frankincense has a nickname. It's the king of oils. That's what we like to call it. And of course, like we just said, it was given to the baby Jesus by the wise men. We use it for so many things, which is why we call it the king of oils. It's the king of cellular health. So anytime you think about supporting your cells to make them do what they were designed to do, you could read between the lines. That's why we use frankincense, and it's considered absolutely priceless. The trees continue giving for hundreds of years, which is really interesting. Let's see, 120 degrees during the day in Somalia. So they are really, obviously they're really stalwart, and they are strong trees to endure that kind of weather. The trees might be growing out the side of a cliff, and it's quite dangerous to get to them. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. It's a great oil for not just supporting the body physically, but it's really great for mental and emotional support, but also spiritual support. One of my first jobs as a teenager when I was 13 is I was hired to play organ for the Catholic Church. I'm not actually Catholic, but I claim to be half Catholic because I've played for so many years. I've played so many masses. But whenever I smell frankincense, it reminds me of going to mass, and it reminds me of midnight mass in specific. And I like to think about that this time of year. So it does have a lot of spiritual connection and meaning behind it. And so a lot of people use it. I mean, at church, literally, but people like to use it and diffuse it when they're doing prayer or meditation, doing your own private worship. And it's been used for lots of different religious cultures too. So it's also used to support the skin. It's an anti-aging one. It's really great for sleep. It's great for stress. It's great for mood. It's great for pain. It's great for everything. It really is this wonderful, incredible, versatile oil. I just had a neighbor knock on my door today, and she said, "Hey, I heard that you do dōTERRA." I said, "Yeah, I do. What's up?" And it's like minus 20 degrees outside. So I invited her in, of course, but she was telling me how her son has been really struggling for several days in a row now with a headache. And she couldn't figure out, what to do for him. And so I gave her my frankincense. I said, "You need to try this." And this is my favorite oil for head tension. And we talked about how to use it. But I want to ask you guys are familiar with oils, you're experienced. I would love to hear, what are your favorite uses for essential oil, for frankincense essential oil? Does anyone want to share? You can unmute.
Hey, Amy, this is Lisa O'Day.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay? I'm driving.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So one of my favorite uses for frankincense with head pain and head discomfort is to take frankincense and put it on the tip of my tongue. On the tip of my thumb, and push it to the roof of my mouth.
Yep.
Because it's the thinnest area, between your oral cavity and your brain. So it gets there right quick. And so when I have somebody who's just struggling really badly, that's one of the things that I use. It's actually my last go-to oil for that because of the price of it. So I try to use the lesser expensive oils to work with someone first, but then if it's not being relieved, then I whip out the frankincense.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yep. Yep. That's how I like to use it too. Just it sounds weird, you guys, but you just press it, just put a drop on your thumb and press it to the roof of your mouth. And it feels like it just melts away. It's really great. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Would you like another example?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I apologize. We're in a car driving in the dark, so my face isn't showing, but my husband.
That's okay. We're glad you're here.
He's listening in, and he said he loves to put 3 drops in under his tongue, and it helps his sore throats.
They go away after.
Yeah, they go away after a couple of nights, but anyway.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. We've used it for that so many times too. I love it. Yay. And it's kind of the season for that, right? So perfect. Thank you so much. So just a few things about essential oils, or about frankincense essential oil, sorry, is our frankincense is unique. Not only is dōTERRA obviously unique from other essential oil companies, right? We know that we have the greatest and the best. Okay, we're biased, but it's true, and we have the proof. But our frankincense is a blend of 4 different species. So we have Carterii and Ferrayana from Somaliland. We have Sacra from Oman, and we have Papyrifera. I can't say it, but that one is from Ethiopia. And our frankincense is a blend, and our peppermint is a blend too. And what's really cool about that is it allows us to be able to keep it really predictable, because plants change, depending on the seasons, if it's a rainy season or not, things like that. And what's really cool about blending is that we're able to get the greatest benefits from this blend together. So it's really, really cool. Each one has a different chirality. Chirality is how the molecular structure is built. And that's why you can't duplicate what's in nature, because if you're doing a synthetic essential oil, the chirality can never be duplicated. The way that the chemical constituents are built, are structured. So it's really interesting, and they work differently in the body. So just if you haven't watched any of the videos on co-impact sourcing for frankincense, I really encourage you to take a minute to do that, because the stories are just so touching and so incredible. All of the co-impact sourcing stories are, but especially frankincense. And the last thing I'll say is that dōTERRA will not source an oil that is not sustainable. Okay, so I love that behind the scenes. So you can check that out on their YouTube channel. All right, and here's just some beautiful pictures of Emily and the work that they're doing to plant more frankincense trees. Again, this was 2020. This was almost 3 years ago now, but they have propagated over 500 frankincense trees. They're thriving, and this is just a little sneak peek at how they source the essential oil. What they do is they actually cut into the tree very precisely. There's like this method to it, right? But they cut into it, and the tree weeps. It's the sap, or the tears, the resin, and they do multiple cuts, and then they come back and they gather the tears, the frankincense tears, and then they distill from that. So it's really cool to see the process of that. All right, so next we're going to talk about myrrh. This is a close-up look at myrrh. So they're closely related, but they definitely have their own unique chemical structure, chemical constituents. Here's a look at a myrrh tree, and of course the resin. So, and here are the tears. You can see where it's been cut. So it's really cool looking. It's amazing that these trees thrive in this desert-like climate. You look at the terrain, and it's just amazing that anything grows there. So myrrh is mentioned 14 times in the Old Testament and 3 times in the New Testament. It's referred to as it's worth its weight in gold. It was used for embalming the dead or onset of death. The Egyptians used myrrh. They were very into their skin routines. Think Cleopatra. Hippocrates, who revolutionized the field of medicine in the 4th and 3rd centuries BCE, talked about myrrh more than anything else. So if you look back at his writing, it's really cool. It was the preferred spa treatment in Pharaoh's time. So really amazing for the skin. But it's not just for beauty treatments, but it's for skin that needs wounds or skin that needs help, some TLC. It's also used historically on newborns on their umbilical cord. It's really great for supporting your throat. I have a recipe at the end that I'm going to share with you. My husband's an opera singer, and we have a recipe that we share with a lot of our singer friends and the people that I coach. I'm an opera coach and pianist, and this, you're going to love this recipe. If you're a singer or if you know somebody who's a singer, I'll share that with you at the end. But it's also added to hair conditioner with ylang ylang. It's also really great to help support healthy menstrual cycles. So it's a beautiful oil. Lots of reasons to love myrrh. Cystis. So this is what cystis looks like. Cystis has a nickname. You've probably heard of it, maybe not aware that you've heard of it, but it's referred to as the rock rose, the sun rose, the rose of Sharon, which is mentioned in the Song of Solomon. And I know there are songs written about it, and labdanum. And it's actually already part of our whisper blend. So even though you can't buy cystis currently, not right now, it is already part of whisper. So that's kind of cool. It's high in sesquiterpenes, just like frankincense, just like myrrh. So if you think of one of my favorite books, and I'm going to mention this at the end, but it's written by P.J. Hanks. So if you're a person who wants to know a little bit more about the chemistry of essential oils, you're going to want to take a screenshot at the end of her book, because she has it so simple. Her book isn't very long, but she deconstructs all of the chemical constituents of essential oils and just makes it really simple. And she takes all of the chemical constituents and she compares them to personalities, and she compares them to personalities in animals. So when she talks about sesquiterpenes, she talks about sesquiterpenes being a fierce protector. So whenever you think of frankincense and how strong it is at helping us fight stuff, and same with myrrh, same with patchouli, same with cystis, she compares it to the polar bear. So that's the personality for sesquiterpenes. But one of the things that's cool about sesquiterpenes is that they can cross the blood-brain barrier to support your nervous system, your brain, your body's computer. So it's really cool. So you can learn more about that if you want. But cystis helps to break open a stagnant state of mind. So if you feel like you've been, let's say, mentally, emotionally, spiritually stuck, this is a really great essential oil for you to use physically, emotionally, spiritually. It helps to assist in processing grief and moving forward. The shepherds tried to remove the gum of the cystis plant that would get stuck in the coat of the sheep. And where the gum touched their hands, their wounds healed much more quickly. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to note. It balances all of your oil blends, so it's a really good base note. So a lot of the sesquiterpenes are good base notes if you know anything about blending, but that's kind of like a whole nother conversation. So sorry to throw these random things in here, but hopefully some of this is useful for you. It also helps to release negative thoughts and is very calming. That's true of all the sesquiterpenes. So I'm totally a lover of all the sesquiterpene oils, and I use them every day. They're the ones that I reach for first. Most of them are the tree oils. Also, you don't need very much. That's one cool thing, even though somebody mentioned, frankincense is kind of the last one that they'll reach for whatever, like headache or whatever. But the thing is that you don't need very much of them because they're so powerful. So that's one cool thing about the sesquiterpene oils. hyssop. So this is what hyssop looks like. Hyssop is a member of the mint family, and it's also one of the oldest known herbs. I thought that was really cool. I did not know that. It's used in the Bible for plague, leprosy, and chest ailments. So if you think of any time that you would normally use eucalyptus, this would be a good substitute or a good alternative. In Psalms 51:7, it says, "Purge me with hyssop and I shall be clean." So it's a cleansing oil. Hyssop, it literally means holy herb. It's used by beekeepers. It produces a rich and aromatic honey. So that's really fun. I have a friend, by the way, if any of you are in Calgary and interested in a last minute gift, just sidebar, I have a friend, Marie Belanger, who infuses her own honey. So they have hives, and she infuses her honey with essential oils. So if you're looking for like a last minute gift, it's a really, really cool, and it tastes amazing. So anyway, sidebar. Exodus 12:22. Wait, why did I put that in there? Oh, this is, I don't remember the reference, sorry. Those pregnant or considering conceiving should avoid, because it can actually stimulate your cycle. And also those who are prone to epilepsy, just use with caution. Just those are just some things to know about. Galbanum. Let me just go back so you can see that. Sorry, I passed that really quickly. So this is what galbanum looks like. All right. It is the sacred mother resin. It was historically burned with frankincense, and these two combined were considered holy incense. And it was burned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to create an atmosphere of healing and to ward off infection. So it's been used for a really long time. Egyptians used it for incense and for embalming. Pliny refers to it as having extraordinary curative powers. The Romans and the Greeks used it in their beauty products and their perfume. It's difficult to source. It's from Iran, or where it comes from naturally, grows indigenously, but we got ours from Turkey. So that was really cool. That's probably why it's a limited time. When it does become available, it's like a limited time oil, because they don't get a ton of it. Score the root to gather the gum. Oh yeah, they score the root to gather the gum resin. So that's how they source the resin in order to distill it. I was trying to make sense of my notes. Sorry, I prepared this really last minute, so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit scatterbrained. It's also used to make perfume still today. It's actually part of the recipe for Chanel number 19. So I thought that was really interesting. This is what common myrtle looks like. Common myrtle comes from a little shrub. It's an evergreen, and it grows naturally in the Mediterranean. The essential oil is extracted from the leaves, and it smells really similar to eucalyptus. So it's not, I guess the other one was more minty, but this is a lot more like eucalyptus in its chemistry and in its smell. The plant has been used for thousands of years, and it's referenced in mythology, history, culture, medicine, and the culinary arts. It's been commonly used in Greece, Rome, England, Ukraine, China, and many, many other countries, but those were the highlighted ones. Common uses, it's great for respiratory support. Think of everything that you use eucalyptus for. It's really great for, it's in like the Breathe blend, right? So respiratory support, skin support, immune support, hormone support, cellular support, kidney support. It supports cognitive function, and it supports a healthy heart and healthy cholesterol levels. So that's a lot. It's a pretty heavy hitter. Okay, also, let's see. Oh, good, we're good on time. So here's some additional oils. Like I said earlier, there are way more oils than what we're talking about tonight, but here's just a few more. Cinnamon bark, cedarwood, cassia, sandalwood, cypress, and spikenard. And we're just going to highlight them for just a quick moment here. Cinnamon bark, I'm sure you're familiar with. I mean, it's the holiday season. We probably, make I don't know, lots of stuff with it, right? When we're baking and cooking and stuff like that. This is in the On Guard blend. Cinnamon, clove is the first oil in the blend, and then cinnamon is the second one. So everything that you love On Guard for are the same reasons that you would love cinnamon on its own. It's warming, it's uplifting, it's really great for healthy digestion, for healthy immune function, and it's an antiseptic. So historically, this one has been used for a long time for all the reasons that we love On Guard right now. So that's a really good one. Cedarwood is really great for respiratory support. It's also great for supporting clear skin. It's really soothing for the mind. It's whenever we're talking about the tree oils, think back to the polar bear and the sesquiterpenes. So cedarwood falls into that. So it's really great for soothing the mind and emotions. One of the things that I love about sesquiterpene and tree oils, if you think about, you look at a tree, and this is coming from a Pacific Northwest girl. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I love trees. I love forests. You think about what a tree looks like, and you think about its deep, deep root system. We know that trees talk to each other. They actually speak with each other, and they communicate. And it's so fascinating when you think about trees and you think about the root system and how grounded they are, and how strong they are. And so if you think about the behavior in the plant, think about how that can help you. So if you feel like you're just maybe you're kind of struggling, it's the holiday season, it can mean lots of things, lots of highs, but it could also mean lots of lows and lots of stress. Like, let's just be real, right? And I love grabbing those sesquiterpenes for that, because I feel like if I feel like I'm just getting a little flustered or whatever, it just kind of grounds me again. So cedarwood is really great for that. And I love that. Cassia is a cousin to cinnamon, comes from the same plant family. And so all the things that we love cinnamon and On Guard for are going to be very similar with cassia. So it's warming, uplifting, great for digestion, immune function, antiseptic. It's also really great for healthy blood sugar levels. We'll just put that in there. So it's in some of our favorite recipes for that. Sandalwood is another essential oil that's been used for spiritual practices, meditation and prayer. And it has a lot of significance that way. It's also really great for healthy skin, for being in a better mood, enhancing your mood. It's calming, it's grounding, and it's uplifting. Cypress is one of my favorites too. We lived in San Francisco for about 10 years, and I just remember walking through Golden Gate Park, and they have these beautiful cypress trees. They grow like weeds over there, just like the eucalyptus trees, and they smell just so fantastic. And they're over in Israel too. But really, if you think about cypress, well, a lot of the trees, not all of them, but a lot of them, you think about, their branches, their leaves, and to me, it's respiratory support. So you think about breathing, it's going to help you breathe better. Not just physically, but emotionally. So dropping some big hints if anybody's struggling during the holidays right now. Really good for tight muscles. So this is in the Aroma Touch blend, Cypress is. And I love using that one if I'm feeling just a little bit stressed out, or my muscles just feel a little bit tight. I had a massage this morning. I started my day with a massage, so I'm still feeling great. But it's definitely one of my favorites for that. It's really good for increasing blood flow, and really good for soothing a cough. I have a quick little story, a sidebar for you. My friend Megan Cannon has had some really interesting health struggles over the years. She's such a trooper. And when I first met her, she was telling me that she had to go get her blood drawn at the hospital regularly for some stuff that she was dealing with. And she said that every time she go to the phlebotomist, her veins would collapse every single time. And just to get a little vial of blood, they were just going back and forth between her arms, just, butchering her. And she started using Cypress and or Balance. And what's interesting about that is it allowed her, once she did that, she just tried it once. She just put a drop over her, where they draw the blood. And she said, once she did that, her veins didn't collapse ever again. She said it worked. So she was able to get the job done and get her blood drawn when she needed to regularly, which was a huge asset. Spikenard. I have to be honest about Spikenard. It is not my favorite smelling oil, but it is a very valuable oil. My husband is in love with it. He uses it. He personally uses it for a hair concoction that he has to get thicker hair. I don't know if it's working, but I know a lot of people do use it for that and have had positive results with it. For him, it still remains to be seen. We'll see. But cardiovascular support is one that's on the list, high on the list for Spikenard. It's also really great for sleep, better sleep, and it's great for immune support. So I just want to pause for just a quick second before we go on. And I just want to ask, does anyone have any stories that you want to share or experiences with any of these oils?
Amy, I have one for Cypress for those who travel a lot in the car and don't like to stop at restrooms that aren't so clean. So when I take a long drive, I apply Cypress to my lower abdomen, and it seems to help my bladder contain more.
Oh, right. I forgot
Right.
about that one. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Thank you for sharing that. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Hello,
Yeah.
I have a success with Cypress.
Let's hear it. Who is this?
Okay, great. I have a friend, and she started doing this 10 years ago. She went to the doctor, and she had a carotid study done, and she had moderate stenosis in her carotid arteries. So she started using Cypress for her circulation, and she would put it on her neck morning and night. She also takes LLV, no other medications. Okay, so the next year when it was time for her carotid study, she had minimal stenosis. And that lady is now 80 years old, and she still has that yearly test, and she's still minimal stenosis, and it's from using the Cypress. She uses no other drugs, like statins or anything like that for cholesterol or any blockage in the veins. So I just think Cypress is wonderful for circulation.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Was that Pat?
Yes, my name's Pat.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Pat. That is so amazing.
You're welcome.
That's really, really cool. Anybody want to share anything else about these?
I will, Amy, it's Pam.
Oh, hey, Pam.
Cassia, I was diffusing Cassia with lime, and
Interesting.
what we found was it was a wonderful smell, but it also made you stand up for yourself.
Oh, interesting. I love that. That's really
So,
great.
yeah.
Oh, love that. Yeah, I feel
What
like
did she say? I missed that. The lime and the cinnamon helped her.
Lime and the Cassia, diffusing it, and it wonderful smell. But it definitely, if you came across a confrontation, it made you stand up for yourself. And I didn't realize it until I had done another Zoom. And I think she called the mix Warrior. And it was, she had mixed it with Cassia, lime, lemon, grapefruit, and I can't remember what else. And she called the Warrior, and it was like, yeah, you stick up for yourself with it.
wow. I love that. Yeah. I love the emotional meaning behind all the oils. It's just, I could talk about it for hours. I love it. That's so cool.
I have another one for Cassia. This is
Hello.
Sylvia. Hello,
Okay.
everybody. I in a prior job that I had, they brought in a new supervisor, just temporary, and she was a bear, to be kind. And every time I could feel her coming into my office, I just got so stressed, confused,
Mm.
and I didn't feel confident. It was like, why is she? It's like she tried to confuse me and everything. And I heard about Cassia, so I went ahead, and it was during the warmer season, and I went ahead and I made myself a smoothie, and I put a drop of Cassia in, just one drop.
Mhm.
And that day when she came into the office, because I would have a line of students, the phone would be ringing, and she'd yell at me to pick up the phone, and I'd be like, no, I've got students in front of me, I can take messages. And then I just got so confused. Well, after I sipped on that smoothie and she came walking in, I just listened to her. She walked away. She did not affect me. I felt stable. I felt strong. I felt like nobody's confusing me. I know exactly what I'm doing. And I finish my work every day. It was the best confidence I had had in a long time with somebody that just wants to, I kind of, bully you in a sense.
Yeah.
So Cassia was a beautiful oil for that. And just one drop in my smoothie was enough.
Wow. That is so cool. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's interesting because I think the holiday season can, like I said earlier, can bring out some really amazing highs, but it can also just bring out the worst in people. So I'm like upping all of my oils for everything. And my husband's gone until like the second week of January. So I'm flying solo here at home. So I need extra oils anyway. But I love the emotional support that we can get from them. And I wish I had time to go through each and every oil that we've talked about tonight on the emotional part of it. But we don't have enough time. But I do appreciate what you've shared because that's just really amazing. I do want to share this recipe real quick. This is a recipe that I've been using for a lot of the professional opera singers that I work with who struggle with throat stuff. There's a lot of gunk going around right now. This is a favorite. All you do is you add the oils that are here. So it's On Guard, peppermint, oregano, lemon, myrrh, clove, sandalwood. And then, so you put it into a 15 ml glass bottle, or you can put it into any bottle, but anyway, glass 15 ml if you want to just repurpose, upcycle one of your existing bottles. And then you top it off with distilled water, shake it really good every time before you use it, and just put a spray topper on top. Okay. But that you just spray it in your throat and it's so good. It works like a charm. I had a funky thing I was dealing with like right before Thanksgiving, and this one saved me. So, all right. And then I just wanted to point this out really quick. There are a lot of oils like we've been talking about. They all have emotional significance, spiritual significance. But this is a nice snapshot of a few that I think are favorites, I would say. So frankincense is a beautiful oil, promotes mental balance. Cedarwood, it's grounding for the body and the mind. Lavender, it's calming for the mind. Vetiver, so great for focus. Adaptive for uplifting the soul. Myrrh, it helps to reduce negative thoughts. So if you're struggling with that you want to pull out your myrrh. Anchor, support a steady foundation. Arise, promote clarity and courage. Align, help create harmony. And then Hawaiian sandalwood, mend spiritual wounds. So Align, Arise, and Anchor, in case you haven't heard those are they're a trio that are part of the yoga collection with dōTERRA. They're beautiful blends, and they're really great for meditation. And let's see, what else do I have here? Okay, this is where I got a lot of my resources. This is a book called Healing Oils of the Bible. It's a great read. I think it's more of a reference / read, but it cites all of the places in the Bible that essential oils are referenced. So it's really cool. It's written by Dr. David Stewart. Well, David Stewart, PhD, but I guess you could call him a doctor, but he's not a medical doctor. Anyway, he wrote this book. It's great. And then here's some of my other resources that are my favorite for this particular topic. So Dr. Joshua Axe wrote Essential Oils, Ancient Medicine. So he has, to me, this is different than your Modern Essentials book or your Essential Life book. It's just a different approach. And I feel like it's a deeper dive in chemistry, but also in terms of like coming at it from the ancient historical uses, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then same thing with this one, the healing intelligence of essential oils. Essential oils are referred to in scripture or plants as intelligence. And this is a deep dive into advanced aromatherapy. So if you're a person who's like, I want the deep stuff, then this book would be for you. This is by Kurt Schnobelt, and it's really good. Essential Oils Unlocked. This is the one that I mentioned before by PJ Hanks. She's an aromatherapist, a licensed aromatherapist. And she's the one I was telling you, just makes understanding the chemistry of essential oils so easy. She just, it's not that she's dumbing it down, but she just makes it so easy to understand, so understandable by the way that she classifies all of the similar chemical constituents and how they behave. So it's very entertaining, and I really like it. This right here is actually a DVD. So David Stewart, the one that wrote the Healing Oils of the Bible, the screen before, he actually produced a movie about it. And you can buy the DVD on Amazon, and yeah. So that's available. I haven't watched it, but I did order it because I thought it looked interesting. And then the Essential Emotions book. This is a favorite. We refer to this all the time. So that's a great reference as well. All right, what else? Oh, the last thing I want to say before we wrap things up is frankincense. In case you don't already know, is we have this beautiful promo that happens every December. dōTERRA's gift to us. For every order of 200 PV, you get a free bottle of frankincense, and it's a 15 ml bottle. So how lucky are we? It's awesome. And before I wrap things up, I just wanted to just share with you, like I said, we don't really have time to go into all of the emotional meaning behind all of the oils, but I just wanted to just highlight frankincense for a second, since we're just going to kind of wrap things up with this. So frankincense, its nickname is the oil of truth. So if you are having a hard time getting clarity in your life, this is going to be a wonderful oil for you to turn to. It helps to shift negative emotions. So if you're feeling abandoned, spiritually disconnected, distant from your father, unprotected, spiritual darkness, misaligned, that will help you. And it helps you shift to these positive properties: enlightened, loved, protected, wisdom, discerning, spiritually open, and connected to Father. Just going to read for just a second here. Frankincense reveals deceptions and false truths. It invites individuals to let go of lower vibrations, lies, deceptions, and negativity. This oil helps create new perspectives based on light and truth. Frankincense recalls to memory spiritual understanding, gifts, wisdom, and knowledge that the soul brought into the world. It is the powerful cleanser of spiritual darkness. Frankincense assists in pulling the scales of darkness from the eyes, the barriers from the mind, and the walls from the heart. Through connecting the soul with its inner light, this oil reveals the truth. So it goes on, but I just wanted to share that little bit. I think my kids are getting impatient, and I'm flying solo here, so I'm going to wrap things up real quick. I'm just going to leave you with this last little quote. The physician treats, but nature heals, and that's Hippocrates. And that's it. Is there anything that you want to say in closing, Callie, before we wrap it up?
That was awesome, Amy. We're getting so many great reviews and comments saying this was one of the best classes someone's ever attended. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh gosh,
It's really great.
thank you. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, you guys. I really appreciate your time. I know the holiday season is crazy, but I hope it's a beautiful holiday for you and your family wherever you are. And stay safe and warm. And I'm going to go help my kids.